So on the topic of Biden's polling, there's a lot of conversation about...
Can we, very briefly, talk about what you just mentioned it with the CNN thing? Yesterday, wall to wall, Thursday was wall to wall. All CNN talked about was this particular poll that had Nikki Haley doing better against Biden. By the way, all within the margin of error. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't some bombshell reporting they were doing. And they just ran with it all day to try to tee up leaving people in doubt about the efficacy or the how well Biden would do in a 2024 matchup against any Republican.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Well, it's been constant about his age, too. If you're watching CNN, you are inevitably hearing a lot about how there's a lot of concern over Biden's age, even though the top contender for the Republican nomination is like 3 or 4 years younger than him.
They went to high school together.
So, and there's not concern about that, but they don't seem to spend a lot of time asking why the Democratic Party will admit, yeah, we would prefer someone who's younger and we're bummed out about how old Biden is. But the Republican Party is like, no, let's whatever Trump says. It's Donald Trump. So Gavin Newsom.
Donald Trump, baby.
That was a little slow.
I was trying to do it.
I know
myself. So Gavin Newsom has been talked about, like, is he running? Is he going to challenge Biden? Because he challenged Ron DeSantis to a debate. He loves to mix it up. He's pretty popular. So there's been a lot of conversation. Is he going to challenge Biden? What does that look like? Well, he sat down with Chuck Todd and he finally answered this question once and for all.
Filing deadlines haven't passed. President Biden doesn't run. Why shouldn't we consider you a likely candidate?
Well, I think the vice president is naturally the one lined up, and the filing deadlines are quickly coming to pass. And I think we need to move past this notion that he's not going to run. President Biden is going to run, and looking forward to getting him reelected. I think there's been so much wallowing in the last few months and hand-wringing in this respect. But we're gearing up for the campaign. We're looking forward to it.
But you hear these calls privately. What do you tell these donors who are wallowing in this?
Time to move on. Let's go.
And am I supposed to interpret that comment about the vice president that if for some reason the president chose not to run at this point,
well, that's
everybody rallies around her?
It's the Biden-Harris administration. Maybe I'm a little old-fashioned.
Yeah,
maybe I'm a little old-fashioned about presidents and vice presidents. I was a lieutenant governor, so I'm a little subjective.
What's your relationship with the vice president?
We knew each other before we were both in politics. The day I got sworn in as mayor, walked across the street. She got sworn in as district attorney. Extraordinarily close working relationship, including our time in the Senate.
So you can't imagine ever having to run against each other?
Of course not. By definition, it won't happen. But I've said that 1,000 times. We privately continue to maintain a very good relationship, interpersonal, just how you doing, checking in. It's been a challenging few years with COVID, and we've had the opportunity to sit down, have lunch together in the White House. We spent time talking about important things.
So nobody's
and
upset. She's not upset that you're going to debate Ron DeSantis?
Maybe. Apparently someone in her office is, because I read some off-the-record quotes. I wish I knew who that was, but I don't hear it from her. And I'm certainly not hearing it from the White House itself.
Seems like some drama's going on there. So someone's unhappy that he's challenging Ron DeSantis to debate, but it's not Kamala Harris.
Sure.
It's just someone in her office.
Let me say, I didn't think Kamala Harris was ready during the primaries for the 2016 election. I don't think she's ready now. She just it's like Mike Pence. I'm not comparing her to Mike Pence, only that Mike Pence wouldn't be where he is unless Donald Trump picked him to be the VP. The people resoundingly said, Kamala Harris isn't for us. We don't want her to be the president. But now she's in a position to maybe be the president only because Joe Biden picked her and she's on the ticket. I don't necessarily care for her. I think she's not progressive enough for me. Absolutely. I also have criticism for Gavin Newsom, but I think as a leader and as a governor, as an actual elected official, he's been very effective. He bummed me out during COVID, like kind of these rules are for you, these restrictions are for you, but they're not for me. I'm going to have large group dinners at restaurants where we're all unmasked.
At French Laundry, right?
Yeah, that bummed me out a lot, but that's really the only criticism I had. Well, and he married Kimberly Guilfoyle. I mean, other than that, Yeah, I don't know. But, it's good that he's kind of laying the marker down and saying, I'm not running. We need to get behind Joe Biden because at this point, he is the nominee. He is the choice. And we need to set aside all the rancor, set aside all of the nonsense and the uncertainty and get behind the guy who's going to run against the fascist Republicans.
Yeah. I do think in interviews that I've seen with Kamala Harris that the Biden administration, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, other figures in that administration need to stop behaving as though they're the heir apparent and that this is just something that they deserve because Donald Trump is so terrible that it's so obvious that like it's just obvious. Why wouldn't anyone vote for us?
Yeah.
You really got to continue to sell it. You got to talk about how important it is. You got to talk about the fascism. You got to talk about what you have done and how that has impacted Americans.
With details.
Yes, details. Go into detail. And not like a fake detail. Like I met Peggy down at the Iowa State Fair and she told me how it was so great. No, like actual numbers and meaningful differences that you've made, the impact.
Because there are metrics to look on, to lean on.
Absolutely.
They have done good things. Have they done enough? No, because we have Kirsten Sinema and Joe fucking Manchin and Republicans who are obstructing at every moment. But the things that have been accomplished, in spite of all of the resistance, have been good.
And that's what they also need to say. Enough with my pal across the aisle.
Yes.
Mitch McConnell, after he froze up, he's doing great.
He's honorable.
Yeah, no, he's not. And we need to stop doing that because they're getting in the way. And they're getting in the way of what the Biden administration wants to accomplish. End of story. That's what they need to do. So they need to go hard. Time to stop palling around with the Republicans and really lean in if we're actually going to not be a fascist country.
It's also time to not pile around, but you can pile around with us by becoming a Patreon supporter as I wrap up the show in grand fashion.
How good was that?
Patreon.com/I Doubt It podcast is where you can go pick your tier, see if you're interested. We would encourage you and invite you to become a member of the Patreon family. We talked about at the beginning of the show. We love you guys. We appreciate you very much. We would invite your participation in this conversation. Part of the mission of this show is moving the conversation forward on an episode-by-episode basis, and you can do that by leaving us a voicemail or an email. You can call and leave us a brief voicemail at 657-464-7609, or, of course, email idoubitit@dollemore.com. We love you guys. We appreciate you very much. And we will see you next time. For Brittany Page, I'm Jesse Dollemore, and this has been I Doubt It.